and episode 19 of the TheHapaPodcast. So, you're wondering probably, it's been a while since your 18th episode, The last episode you talked about notebooks and stuff, and, this episode I was kind of thinking, like, I know it's been a while since the last one, so, figured maybe go more towards what I was doing in the beginning of the podcast. In the beginning of this podcast, I was thinking more of doing like a sports show, kind of podcast type. But now I'm kind of thinking more just, I don't know, chill, kind of talk about whatever is on my mind lately. Since it's past Thanksgiving, it's Saturday. I don't even know what date in November, but it's Saturday, 2 days after Thanksgiving. And I don't know, there's something about Christmas movies that it's like, you can watch a Christmas movie any time of the year. You can watch any movie any time of the year. That's like Die Hard. The controversy with Die Hard is that people are like, oh, that's not a Christmas movie. Die Hard's a fucking Christmas movie. It's during Christmas. I would say almost every Harry Potter is also a Christmas movie, just because they celebrate Christmas. Though in that, they don't say Merry Christmas. They always go like, oh, Happy Christmas, Harry. And it's like, oh, Happy Christmas, Ron. And it's just some kind of weird British way of saying Merry Christmas. Or if you're not with the Christmas shit. But, so I was thinking, what is the best Christmas movie? And I'm not talking like animated, because animated, you could go all types of ways. But I was thinking, what's the best Christmas movie that's live action, real people, not animated, doesn't have any kind of animation in it. So it's not something like Mary Poppins, where they have like real people, and shit like that, and then they have the dancing penguins animated in. And I was thinking it's either a tie. So right now, just off the top of my head, it's either a tie between the Santa Claus 1, with Tim Allen, where he becomes the Santa Claus shit. They kill Santa. Not really kill Santa. It's more that, Santa... Well, you know what I mean. But he becomes Santa Claus. And then Home Alone #1. I mean, the rest of the Home Alones were terrible. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, was cool because it was a different setting. Macaulay Culkin's fucking around in the toy store, meets Donald Trump, which is kind of weird that guy was in the movie and then he's president. But, But Home Alone 1. In Home Alone 1, I would say definitely beats out The Santa Claus as the best Christmas movie because... of all the pranks and stuff Macaulay Culkin does, when he, like, shaves his face and shit, or puts the aftershave on his face, he's like, oh! Like that shit. But then also, because of the movie, something Angels, Dirty Angels or something, they made it specifically for Home Alone, so that black and white movie that Macaulay Culkin's not allowed to watch, but then he watches and shit, and then the guy, blah, 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 blows him away, the bad guy in the movie with the Tommy gun. He's like, keep the change, you filthy animals. It's like that. So that shit is perfect. Because it's like, I didn't find out till years later after I watched that movie that whole filthy animals thing was just made for Home Alone. It was filmed for it, and that's where they got the second movie in Home Alone 2, where he shoots another guy, the same guy with the Tommy gun. He's like, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, da 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 da, and shoots him again. So, Home Alone 1 is definitely that. I'm trying to think what else is another good Christmas movie. I can't really think of other Christmas movies, but the feeling I get with Christmas movies is that you can't really watch them until after Thanksgiving. As soon as you finish Thanksgiving dinner or whatever, you're done with Thanksgiving for the year, then it's Christmas time. Oh, Nightmare Before Christmas. Though that is animated, that would also be another Christmas movie. However, is it a Halloween movie? Who knows? Disney has a lot of great movies on tap for the holidays and shit, but I feel like The Nightmare Before Christmas, it's almost one of those holiday movies that transcends the normal idea of what a movie could be, because it's claymation. I think the guy who's with all those Johnny Depp movies, Tim Burton made Nightmare Before Christmas. And so it's claymation. They're doing all this wacky shit. Cool animation, by the way. And I don't know why that's flashing. That's so weird. I'm recording off my phone, so I set the camera in the computer, so then my phone keeps flashing saying a highlight of this video is made, but I have no clue what that means, except that a highlight's made. So take it for what it is. But what's cool about what I really like about The Nightmare Before Christmas, staying on track for holiday movies, best Christmas movie in particular, is that it's a musical. And I know some people don't like musicals, but musicals I fuck with because it's like there's something about singing that I like. I can't sing, my voice cracks when it goes super high pitched or higher pitched than like normal tone. And so that's what I like about it because the musical is good and all the animation. You get to see the whole Halloween town when Jack Skellington is looking at all the different trees and he sees like the Valentine's Day tree, the St. Patrick's Day tree, the Christmas tree, the Halloween tree, and he's looking at all of them. It's just something like, what the fuck? Did Tim Burton just eat a whole bag of mushrooms or like pop a couple tabs of acid and then go, oh, fuck? Imagine if there was a skeleton. He's alive though. A skeleton. A skeleton. He's alive though. And he's surrounded by all these dead people in Halloween Town. But it's not really Halloween because he's tired of Halloween. So what does he do? Go searches for Christmas. That's a mind fuck. I mean, really, if you hadn't seen a movie before and you watch that, that's a total mind fuck. Especially because you'd never look at Halloween or Christmas the same, really any holiday. But it's a total mind fuck, but it makes it even a better mind fuck because it's a musical. Taking hits for the podcast, cocksuckers. One other thing about Halloween, not Halloween, about holiday, shit. There it goes. One more for the road. And so one thing about holiday movies is that what makes a holiday movie, you know? Do they have to, oh, don't get me wrong, what makes a holiday movie is that they have to celebrate a certain holiday. That's what makes it a holiday movie. You can have a movie like fucking Lord of the Rings and go, well, that's a Thanksgiving movie because they're eating legs of fucking meat or whatever animals they killed in fucking Lord of the Rings. No. What makes a holiday movie is that there is a holiday that happens to be celebrated in said movie. So that's why I say movies like Die Hard. Die Hard's Christmas. Yeah, it's an action movie, but it's an action Christmas movie because they're celebrating Christmas inside that office building that, Bruce Willis is like, sliding through the air vents and shit, going like, yippee-ki-yay, motherfuckers, and shit like that. That makes it a holiday movie. What makes Nightmare Before Christmas? Well, I mean, fucking Christmas is in the title, so that would be a holiday movie. Harry Potter, though, see, that's where in this whole little rant about holiday movies and Christmas and what to watch after Thanksgiving is about, is that there are these out-of-the-box movies that have a holiday in it, though they're not seen as a holiday movie. And I was talking with my mom, and she goes, you know, like USA Network, the channel, you know what they always play? Harry Potter. They just got Harry Potter movies on all the time. And I'm thinking, well, shit. I mean, if you kind of think about it, Harry Potter, those are holiday movies. In the first one, they celebrate Halloween, when the troll breaks in, and Professor Quirrell, he runs and he's like, oh, troll! There's a troll in the dungeons! And it's like, oh shit, okay, so they're celebrating Halloween, and then in another scene, bruh, it's like 20 minutes later, and yet 2 months in the movie has fucking passed, and they're celebrating Christmas. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving because they're in England, and in England, they don't celebrate Thanksgiving, only in America. And so I would consider Harry Potter a Halloween movie. Ooh, especially during Harry Potter 3, The Prisoner of Azkaban, right? They're all sitting around, they're eating the jelly beans that makes them have like a tiger growl or like train engine steam, the whistles going out of their ears and shit. But they're celebrating. They always say Christmas in that shit. They're always opening presents. I mean, there's just so much you could do with Harry Potter, but it's considered just, I don't know, a sci-fi movie, a wizard movie. But I would consider it a holiday movie. It's definitely Christmas. Hubie Halloween's another holiday movie. All right, and so that'll do it probably for just movies. I can't really think of anything more holiday movie-ish or pertaining to that. But one thing I want to touch on is earlier in my earlier episodes, in the early episodes of this podcast, so 2 months ago, I was talking about fantasy football, and Justin Herbert was a quarterback that I mentioned. I didn't get him on my fantasy team. He was a free agent for a long time. I just never picked him up. I was betting on Lamar to pull through, and Lamar just hasn't done it this regular season. Fuck. But Justin Herbert, rookie quarterback out of Oregon, plays for the Los Angeles Chargers. And this kid is fucking electric. I mean, I don't want to say I told you so or hey, I called it, but hey, I fucking called it. And to those who said, no, I told you so. Because it's like this kid, what he was doing in Oregon, which was very interesting because they have a running quarterback kind of system. Marcus Mariota brought that in, was doing that a couple years ago in Oregon when he was still in college. But Justin Herbert can throw. And what's crazy is how accurate he can throw on the run. San Diego's offensive line was very shaky last season. I don't know why I keep saying San Diego. It's LA. LA, the Chargers, last season, their offensive line was really in shambles, which was interesting because they drafted Dan Feely a couple years ago. They got another good guard that season. And it was just like, it looked like a promising offensive line. It was building up. They got the left tackle from Seattle, Russell Okung, a bunch of years ago, and I never understood that signing. So I mean, it's not like Los Angeles, their offensive line woes are just happening this season or last season. Like it's been in fucking shambles for a cool minute. And what's interesting is because Justin Herbert is a mobile quarterback, he can throw on the run, do all that. But what makes it even more interesting is how accurate it is. It is not like, the wide receiver is going to have to reach out or, jump up for it. Last week when they were playing the Jets, Justin Herbert rolled out to his left, turned his shoulders, set up the pass, while running, threw it, perfect, on the dime. It hit Keenan Allen in the chest in the end zone. He didn't even have to move. From where he was standing, 30 yards away, Justin Herbert hit him in the chest. So it's fucking called it. Didn't get him on my fantasy team, so I didn't call that. I fucked up on that, saying I'd pick him up. But it's just been interesting this NFL season with all the new players coming in rookies-wise, CeeDee Lamb's game against the Vikings, that end zone catch where he turns, does almost like an Odell Beckham, but lays out instead two hands it, one hands it, two hands it, in the back, stretched out. But it's been the COVID, so I remember thinking before this 2020 NFL season started that COVID would have a big effect on the NFL and fantasy football, especially because, well, what are you going to do if your player's out? What happens if your whole team is like those, I think it was the the Tampa Bay Rays, and they all just get COVID. It's this week, I'm playing my Uncle Rick in fantasy football. And, I mean, what the fuck? All of a sudden, I see my team, the projection goes down from 140 points down to 120 something. And I'm like, well, that's odd. I look, Lamar Jackson got COVID. What the fuck? So Lamar's out. Gotta bench my quarterback. Pick up Derek Carr, throw him in. Then I look this morning, who else is out? Holy shit, why is my projection back down to 120? Oh. That's why. Jonathan Taylor, my favorite team, the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor got COVID. What the fuck? So, keep him around, obviously. Bench him. Because, the vid-19, as Kevin Hart would say. And I picked up Nyheim Hines. So hopefully Nyheim Hines does work. I mean, he did work last time against Tennessee. So they'll probably try to game plan around that, keep him from catching balls in the flats. Catching a ball in the flats, catching balls. And yeah. Okay, so that'll pretty much be it for those two topics. One was I'm starting stand-up comedy. I started this podcast stuff, and I haven't performed yet, but I'm starting to write stand-up. I'm still beginner level zero. There's a level below zero. I'm that. So, but it's really cool because of how just friendly comics are. I reached out to a comic. Her name is Esther Koo. You may have seen her on the Church of What's Happening Now with Joey Diaz. She has her own podcast and stuff. She has these new cool T-shirts out. It's a photo of her, black and white T-shirt, right? Black and white, and on the bottom it says Korean teen, like quarantine, Korean teen. And these are so cool. Like these shirts, I still gotta get one. But it was so nice of her because I reached out to her. I asked, hey, I'm still beginning as a comic. Honestly, I haven't performed a stand up. I've never performed in front of people. Didn't tell her this part. The first time I ever had the opportunity to perform in front of people, I was in my, I want to say, freshman year of high school at Clovis North. And my sister was doing improv with this improv group that would come to Clovis North. They would do improv with the Clovis North improv people, do shows, and they were called Blimprov. They had a name before that, but they changed it to Blimprov, which it's like what it sounds. It's a blimp, but it's blimp. I don't fucking know. Whoever came up with that, bro, like, damn. I fuck with it though. Fuck with it. They were hilarious. They are hilarious people. And so I'm sitting in the back, and they go, oh, oh, and they're asking the audience questions. And I'm just sitting in the back, chilling. Nothing's wrong. Chilling. And they go, okay, name swear you wouldn't want to be. And I said, Bill Cosby's house, because it just came out Bill Cosby was raping people. So they were like, ah. And I just kept saying all these things like, who would you not want to dog sit for you? And I just thought, well, Michael Vick, because you electrocuted dogs, strangled them, drowned them, etc. And so they're like, oh shit, okay, this kid, probably on something, looks a little young, maybe not, maybe it's just the testosterone running through his prepubescent body, so he's going off. And so they call me up. As soon as I stand up, I felt this running inside my nose, right? Like from my brain down to my nose, and I touch my nose and I look down because I used to I used to have a lot of bad nosebleeds, and so I'd always look down because sometimes your nose runs in mucus, but sometimes you see the red dot of blood and you're like, fuck, I'm gonna start dripping blood all over the place. So they call me up, and as I stand up, touch my nose, fuck, it's blood, but I don't want to look like, stupid. Unfortunately, that still happened. But I had to lean my head back, and I just walked down the steps. And so I'm standing up there with my head leaned back like that, looking up, trying to look at them down this way. And they're like, oh, so, blah, blah, blah. They're asking me questions. And I just remember that was my first time in front of people. I was like 14, 15. And standing there, and my nose was bleeding. And I had to tilt my head back. And as I was tilting my head back, I had to breathe in my nose to suck the blood up and out through my mouth. And so they're just kind of looking at me strange, because here's this, 5'2" Asian kid, talking all this funny shit. But then when he's up in front of the people, leaning back, and yeah. And I'll never forget, but even though that happened, I had so much fun. Because I knew when these people could ask something, I could pop into my head, and I could say it. And ever since then, I've always wanted to do comedy. I've always wanted to do improv. And it's taken forever, 23. But, ever since that, I always thought, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do this and have some success. So I started writing jokes. And so Esther Koo, I reached out to her on Instagram, asked her if she had any tips, and she was telling me things she would advise me doing. Join a stand-up class. I heard this also on the Church of What's Happening Now in other episodes when Esther Koo wasn't a guest with Joey Diaz. And and she said, start a class, find a comedy class. So you like learn. She said, she learned through that comedy class, and at her graduation, she did her first performance. So it was kind of cool because it was like, all right, I always thought, okay, you just had to be funny and someone book you, or you had to do an open mic, or you had to audition. And it was kind of a relief because I was like, oh, okay, that doesn't seem as stressful. I can go into an environment where it's cool to like mess up, learn, learn timing and all that stuff, educate myself. And yeah, and also she said, to support other comics. That was the most important takeaway I had from that, was because I'd heard from for a while, like on Joe Rogan, how he is saying support other people. It's not a kill or be killed type of thing. It's like, bro, support people. We're all a community. And so that was something nice, I thought, because not only did she take the time to respond to my question and help me out, someone who, bro, I don't even have 300 followers on Instagram or nothing like that. And this person, Esther Koo, as awesome as she is and famous, took that time to respond to someone like me, I thought was just fantastic. So thank you to Esther Koo. But the other one was on my other baking, my other videos on the same channel, the HapaPodcast. I also do baking with Buddha. I also do a half Japanese game, which is me, and I just record gameplay videos. So I did a Mafia video. Somehow that is the highest video out of the other videos. Like I did a couple Mafia Definitive Edition videos and a couple Madden gameplay videos because I love Madden. I used to be a top 2,000 in the world in that when I really still played. And yeah, top 2,000. That doesn't sound like a good number. Like I was like number 1,900 something, like 82 or something. And it was like, oh, top 2,000, wow. But the video that got the most views was the Mafia video. I called it Bellhop Rampage because I got in the bellhop outfit and I thought, oh, fuck, probably a lot of people don't have the bellhop outfit. Just run around with a gold Tommy gun and shoot up people. But so it's kind of weird that people watch that. It's like, oh, yeah, oh, what are you watching? Just a video of a guy dressed up as a bellhop running around shooting people. Oh, bad people? Cops. So they could be bad, but they could be good. They're both. And so, yeah, but my videos I enjoy doing most are those baking with Buddha videos. I have this painting back here. Can't see it. Don't know if you see it. I had it in the first video. It's from my Uncle Pat. He just passed away in March. But I also do with my Buddha statue and little hat I got from Thailand, and I just do baking videos. So she checked out those baking videos, and she said, give out the like bake or cook stuff and give it out to people. And I thought, oh shit, that's a pretty good idea, because I never really thought about sharing the food I bake. I usually eat it or give it to my dog Chuck, sister's dog actually. So my nephew Chuck, my dog nephew, my nephew. Oh, he sounds deaf then. My dog few. And so I thought that'd be pretty cool, because one of my favorite things I like to do is make fried rice. And I first learned how to make fried rice at this place I used to work at called Pokeland. And it was this Poke place. Obviously, it's in the title, it's Pokeland. But I learned how to make fried rice there. And it was so cool because they taught me how to make it in the wok and all that. And that'd be something I think would be kind of cool to make and share with people. So I know this turned almost into like, not the podcast I was thinking. But anyways, so yeah, I just figure make the food. It's probably also this weed. Make the food, share it with people, join a class. You can do all kinds of things. But if there's someone looking to start stand-up comedy, I suggest reaching out to Esther Koo. She's a very kind lady. Hilarious. I saw her first time I ever saw Esther Koo. I actually only clicked on the Joey Diaz video because she was Asian. Right? I mean, I love Joey Diaz, so I watch all of his Church of What's Happening Now, The Joint, everything. You can also check him out on Patreon. But I first saw it because, she's Asian, and it's like, oh fuck, an Asian comic on Joey? Oh my god, it must be hilarious. She must be hilarious, not it. It as in the video, she as in Esther Koo. And so I click on the video, and the first thing I see is she's eating the stars of death with Joey. You know, those, there's these like 160 milligram, 260 milligram little gummies, like that small. That was the white power thing. I didn't mean that, in case someone thinks that's what I meant. They're like that small, and she just eats them. She is stoned off her ass, and it was just hilarious because it was like, oh my god, other Asians do fuck with weed, because it's so rare that you ever see that, and you always think like Asian people, like, I don't know, I met a lot of other Asian people, and by other Asian people I don't mean like Indian or from like Afghanistan area, Middle East. I mean like Chinese or Hmong or Thai or Filipino or Japanese or Korean. And nobody ever seems to smoke weed. They always kind of look down on it like, huh, I wouldn't do that. And it's like, well, shit. So it's kind of awkward because, you know, being the only Asian. So seeing Esther Koo do that automatically made me a fan of hers. And it was just her kindness and generosity and her taking the time to respond. And so that's something that I'm seeing more of lately, is the real kindness and giving nature of people is being, I don't know if it's being performed more, but it's definitely being viewed more by other people via social media, you know, things like that. So, yeah. All right, I can feel like I'm rambling, but it's not a good ramble. It's more like a terrible ramble. So I'm going to end it right here. HapaPodcast, the HapaPodcast, all one word. Also check out Baking with Buddha, and check out more half Japanese gaming. I'm gonna get more videos out, be more constant with this shit. It's been a long break in between episode 19 and 18 of this podcast, especially the long layoff in those other episodes. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate the views, appreciate it. Subscribe below. I assume that's where the subscribe button is if you're watching this on YouTube. And also, this is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and I believe Pandora. I'm not sure if they accepted my application yet, so that's kind of unfortunate, but maybe one day. All right, that'll do it. The HapaPodcast, episode 19. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Deuces.